It is difficult to find someone who has never heard of a guppy fish. It is one of the most common and popular aquarium fish in the world. For the overwhelming majority of lovers, the guppy became the first fish to be kept, and the experience of caring for it became a pass to the big world of aquaristics. General information. A characteristic feature of the guppy is egg production. Unlike most other fish, eggs are fertilized and developed, not in the external environment, but in the body of the female. As a result, an already formed fry is born. This increases the fry's chances of survival. Guppies were also the first fish to be in space. They not only successfully adapted to life in zero gravity aboard the Salyut 5 orbital station, but also managed to produce offspring. Genetic scientists use them to study the transmission of hereditary traits. Also, guppy fish have rendered a huge service to the world community. The fact is that these fish happily eat the larvae of Anopheles mosquitoes, and to combat these parasites, guppies were settled in the water bodies of many countries. Appearance. Guppy is a small fish from the Poeciloides family. The average body size in the male is 3 cm, in the female 6 cm. The scales are in the form of a rhombic mesh, for which the fish received the specific epithet from the Latin reticulum, mesh. Fish are characterized by pronounced sexual dimorphism. Females are much larger and thicker than males, do not have strongly developed veil fins, and are much more modestly colored. Mostly the body and tail are gray, sometimes the caudal fin is colored or spotted. The most important distinguishing feature of males is the presence of a modified anal fin, which is called gonopodia. Thanks to him, males are able to place sexual products directly into the abdominal cavity of the female, where fertilization already takes place. As for the color, natural individuals cannot boast of a bright outfit, a gray body and small, albeit absolutely unique in location, spots on a rounded tail fin. This allows you to effectively hide from enemies among dense thickets. A completely different matter is breeding forms, which have been bred by amateurs and professionals around the world for a long time. Several stable groups of fish are distinguished, depending on the shape of the caudal fin and body color. Guppies can be monochromatic, spotted, with a metallic sheen, etc. It is impossible to list all the colors and shapes of guppies that can be found on sale. History of appearance. One of the first scientists to describe guppies was the famous German zoologist Wilhelm Karl Hartwig Peters in 1859. He gave the fish the name Poecilia reticulate, which lasted until 1861, when the Italian researcher F. de Filippi studied the obtained alcoholic materials and isolated a separate genus Lebistes, and the fish was named Lebistes poeciloides. The fish got its second name Guppy, originally Guppy, in honor of the English scientist and priest Robert Guppy, who brought it to England from the island of Trinidad in 1866. The fish endured a month's journey perfectly and were presented by Robert to the scientific board of the British Museum of Natural History. He took them to the new genus Girardinus and named the fish after himself, Girardinus guppy. When it turned out that 7 years earlier, the fish had already been described by another scientist, it was renamed again, this time to Lebistes reticulatus. And only in 1963, after an extensive revision of viviparous fish from the Poeciloides family, carried out by ichthyologists Rose and Bailey, the guppy was returned to its former name, Poecilia reticulate Peters. Nevertheless, the name guppy is very firmly entrenched for the fish in English-speaking countries. In the modern world, natural guppies are no longer caught in the wild. Numerous hybrids obtained on special fish farms are sold in millions of batches all over the world. Guppy breed standards have been created at the global and national levels. In almost all countries there are huge amateur clubs that participate in regular exhibitions of these delightful fish. Habitat. Historically, guppies live in Central, North-South America and the Caribbean islands. These are countries such as Brazil, Venezuela, Guyana, Trinidad, and Tobago. Thanks to their amazing endurance, the fish have settled in almost all possible freshwater biotopes, rivers, lakes, canals, swamps. Some populations can be found even at the mouths of rivers flowing into the ocean, where fresh and salt water is mixed. They prefer warm rivers with a slight current. Fish live in small flocks, up to 10 pieces, in dense thickets of plants, where they hide in case of danger. They usually swim near the surface of the water. Currently, the guppy is a true cosmopolitan species. Thanks to artificial acclimatization, to control the larvae of the Anopheles mosquito, the fish can be found on all continents. The wide distribution of the fish as an aquarium pet also played a significant role. Guppies are one of the hardiest fish that can live in a wide range of water parameters and survive, sometimes in extremely extreme conditions. It is reliably known that wild populations, probably released by aquarists, have adapted to live even in the rivers of large cities, in places where warm sewage is discharged. Views. Among aquarists, in addition to a wide variety of guppy breeds of the species Poecilia reticulata, another species is very popular, Endler's guppy. This small, but very bright fish will be an excellent decoration for the aquarium. It was first discovered in 1937, but did not gain popularity and was considered extinct for a long time. It was only in 1975 that John Endler compiled the first complete description of the species. It is endemic to the coastal lagoons of Venezuela. Endler's guppies are very small and are great for nano aquariums. Males grow up to 2.5 centimeters, females up to 3.5 centimeters. Females are discreetly colored, while males are full of all the colors of the rainbow. It is better to keep in small groups with a predominance of females. It is advisable for the aquarium to be densely planted with plants. Fish are very mobile, males constantly look after females. They can jump out of open aquariums. As neighbors, you can use small harrison, zebrafish, rasper, corridors. They usually live in an aquarium for several years. At elevated temperatures, about 30 degrees centigrade, they actively grow, but at the same time their lifespan is reduced. Flakes or small granules are great for feeding. Reproduction is very simple. On average, a female spawns 5 to 25 fry every month. The fry are large and can immediately eat dry food for fry and brine shrimp nauplii. Guppy breeds. Guppy fish have a great many variations of shapes and colors. Guppy breeds are distinguished by a set of features, the main of which are body color and shape of fins, presence of pearlescent sheen and pattern. In some cases, there are commercial, historically established names, for example, Berlin, half-black red, black prince, half-black, carnation, dark frame carpet red, cobra, the correct name is filigree, etc. The mechanisms of the formation of the color that we observe are genetically quite complex and are caused by a number of pigments, a different combination of which creates a unique variety of colors of existing breeds. Until now, a unified nomenclature for the names of breeding breeds of these fish has not been adopted. In addition, guppy offspring of a certain color will always split and new colors will appear, which leads to confusion and makes it difficult to maintain a clean line. When maintaining a line in an aquarium, after several generations, degeneration usually occurs, that is, the characteristics of the breed may disappear or undergo significant changes. In addition, the viability of the fish is significantly deteriorated. This occurs as a result of inbreeding or closely related crossbreeding. To prevent this from happening, when breeding guppies, it is necessary to periodically add new blood, that is, to cross with representatives of the same breed, but taken from another breeder. It should be noted that pure lines of guppy breeds can only be found in breeders' aquariums, as maintaining the breed requires significant effort, long time and adherence to strict growing and selection conditions. Hybrids of different breeds are usually commercially available, showing a wide variety of traits. Care and maintenance of guppy. Due to the high endurance of the guppy, there is an opinion that creating good conditions for the fish does not really matter. But this approach is fundamentally wrong. Guppies, like any other fish, require compliance with certain rules for keeping. Only in this case the pet will live a long life, will not be susceptible to diseases, will remain active, and will not lose its excellent shape. Guppies are best kept in small groups of 6 or more. In an aquarium, they swim in all layers of water. The fish must be selected so that there are 2 to 3 females per male. In this case, the females will be less attacked by the males ready for spawning. For a flock of 6 to 10 pieces, you need an aquarium from 50 liters. Any soil is suitable, the main thing is that it should be without sharp edges and preferably a dark shade, with it the fish look more spectacular. Interesting fact. Since the fish are viviparous, fully developed offspring are born and are ready to use small food, including ciliates. The same requirement applies to decorations. This is to prevent males from damaging their plush tails. It is advisable to set the lighting bright, with it the guppies look better and acquire a more saturated color. It is best to cover the aquarium with a lid because the fish can quite easily jump out of the water and land on the floor. Guppies feel good in clean, oxygenated water. The main thing is that the filter flow is not very strong. It is difficult for small fish to resist a strong flow of water. The optimum temperature for keeping this tropical fish is 24 to 26 degrees centigrade, although guppies can exist in the range from 18 to 30 degrees centigrade. The lifetime strongly depends on the temperature. The higher the indicator, the faster the metabolism goes, the reproduction process becomes more frequent, but the lifespan is reduced. If the fish is in the lower limit of temperature, then its metabolism slows down, the reproductive function is suspended. Water with a hardness of 10 to 25 degrees DGH and an acidity of 7 to 8.5 is suitable for keeping guppies. However, water parameters are not an axiom. If the changes were not too abrupt, then guppies adapt without problems to almost any conditions in a short time. To maintain well-being, weekly aquarium water changes, 25 to 30%, are required. Guppies love dense thickets of plants. It is best to give preference to small-leaved plants with delicate leaves. It will not be superfluous to have a Poecilia on the surface of the water. It is very convenient for newborn fry to hide in them. It is very useful to keep an Indian fern in an aquarium with a guppy. It serves as a good biofilter, an indicator of water condition and a place where fry can also hide. It is imperative to leave free swimming space in the aquarium. Guppies can tolerate a slight increase in salinity in the aquarium. The breeding forms are much more sensitive to the conditions of keeping than the outbred ones, therefore, it is necessary to control the optimal water parameters in aquariums with beautiful breeds much more strictly. Aquarium tests are great for this. Compatibility. Guppy is a very peaceful and lively fish, which is not capable of offending anyone in a common aquarium. Usually the opposite is true, the veiled tail of a guppy acts on some fish like a red rag on a bull. This must be taken into account when keeping, and not add active fish to them, for example, barbs or rainbows, in the aquarium. With a high degree of probability, the tail of the guppy will suffer and stop being so attractive. For large cichlids, guppies will become live food. Peaceful fish similar in size will become good neighbors for guppies, danios, rasbora, mollies, neons, tetras. The most important thing is to avoid overpopulation in the aquarium. It is necessary to take into account the fact that guppies reproduce very quickly and their numbers can increase significantly in a short period of time. Some of the fry will be eaten by other